Okay, so the storm is raging, and it looks like the Trojans are definitely goners. Okay, and then Neptune realizes what's going on. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. So in Terra, meanwhile, um, with the great to be confused roar, the sea, and having been sent out a winter, or that can also be storm. And then Saint Sit, he perceived, Neptune perceived that the sea was being confused with a great roar, and that a storm had been sent out. Notice we've got a missing essay here. Okay. And that still pools of water, perhaps, okay, had been, and against another essay here, okay, had been poured back, okay, from the lowest depths. And usually water means shallows, but it can just generally mean water too, okay. In this case, with Imis, it's got to be the depths or something like that. Okay. And then this is Neptune. Okay, stirred seriously or gravely. Okay, and looking over the sea, he lifted his calm head, and then here we've got prospici ains su ma, right? So we've got from the surface of the water, okay, from the highest water. And then we've got disiectum, which is probably a ship, and then an Aenei, which is genitive, toto, videt, Iquere. Okay, so toto and Iquere looks like they're going together, and then colossum. Oh, okay, so colossum, disiectum is actually a fleet here. Okay, he sees the scattered fleet, or the fleet, perhaps. How about this? He sees the fleet of Aeneas scattered over the whole sea. Okay, and you can see there a lot of times translating certain words in certain order can really help to make the translation flow. Okay, so he sees the fleet of Aeneas, or he sees that the fleet of Aeneas has been scattered over the whole sea. He sees Trojans overcome by waves and the destruction or downfall of heaven. Okay, they're overwhelmed by both the waves and the downfall of heaven. And they nor did the deceptions or tricks, okay, of Juno, okay, or how about the tricks, the deceptions, and the wraths, or wrath, poetic plural, of Juno escaped notice of her brother. Okay. He summons the east wind to himself and the west wind. Then he says such things. Now we've got a couple things, interesting things going on here with scansion. One thing, let's take a look at this line here. Now here we've got elision. Okay. Disiect I. Okay, so along. And then always remember, okay, with the names, okay, it's always good to try to memorize the lengths of the vowels in the names. This E in Aeneas is long, okay. So disiect I, ne, I. And then another thing to remember, of course, the easiest ones to remember are the endings. Okay, because you have to, they're the same for all words in those declensions. So so we know this this ablative O at the end is always long. But another thing, a good thing to remember is that totus, in totus, this O is long also. Okay, so disyectai ne I to widet. That's short. Okay, I quore classem. Okay, so it's good to remember, especially Aeneas's name, that E is long. Okay. Another thing, let's take a look at this line. Nec latu e redo li fra trem you no nis et e rai. And notice here where you've got this M and you've got this I, but so it's tempting to want to elide this, but this I is not a vowel; it's a consonant. You know, okay? So that is not going to elide there, okay? Let's take the next line. El brad se zephyr quewo kat. Okay, now something interesting is going on in this section here. Okay, now the thing is that this A in Thalia is long. Okay, there could be a different explanation to how this scans except for that fact. Okay, which means that we need wo kat, and then we have ta li fa tur. Which means that, okay, this would have to be long. This syllable would have to be long because of the number of consonants following the I, which is naturally short. Okay. But what is actually happening here is the best explanation for what's going on here is this this H is weak, okay, which H tends to be weak, okay, and that we end up with this just being one long syllable. Okay, kind of another example of synesis. Okay, so el rod se zephyrum quewo kat denk ta lia fatur. That's kind of a weird one, but that's what's going on there. Okay, and so now Neptune speaks. Does such great confidence of your or in your kind or race, okay, of your race, right? Okay, hold you? Now do you dare, okay, to confuse sky and earth without my divine consent? Winds, vocative here, okay, and to raise up or lift up such great masses? Whom I. And what we've got here is an instance of aposiopesis, okay, where what he starts saying something, and then he stops himself, and then it's trying to integrate this with the grammar of this would be very difficult because he stops what he's saying and then changes what he was going to say. Okay, he was probably going to get mad at him or something like that, and then he says, "But it is best, or it is best or better to calm or to compose the moved waves." So best thing to do right now is to calm down the waves. But we'll talk about other stuff later. Okay. Afterwards, you will atone to me, okay, for your crimes, for the things having been committed, by a not similar punishment. Hasten flight, and tell these things to your king. not to him, okay, dative of possession, okay, or probably, actually no, probably more like a indirect object with dodare, okay. Not to him has the authority of the sea and the cruel trident, but to me it has been given. What's that? The authority, okay, by lot. Okay, that when they divided up the powers of the world between Neptune and Zeus and Pluto, they did so, or Hades. They drew lots for which domains each would get, and Neptune drew the sea. Okay, that guy holds the huge rocks, your homes, East Wind. Let him, okay, so this is like hortatory subjunctives here, okay, or gessive subjunctives, okay. Let him toss himself about, okay. That's a way of kind of saying like boasting, okay. Let him toss himself about in his palace, in the palace, okay. Let Aeolus, okay, delayed, let him do it, Aeolus, and let him rule in the enclosed prison of the winds. Thank you.